There we go. Now we're finding again. What a mess. Good grief. Okay. Zane, you found me first. Let me see if I can get. There we are. Let me get this link and post it elsewhere here. There we go. Oh my goodness, you guys. This is becoming a real problem, and I don't know how to solve it every week. It's like we get 30, 40 minutes in, and then suddenly YouTube says, no, we've had enough of you. So, all right, let some folks get back in here. I will pop this out. For any of you who make it to the second stream, you are the true Playdate folks. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, I am so sorry. All right, let me get that other chat. It's up. Okay, so let me go ahead and close out of that one. I lost so many folks. They're like, okay, we're just going to go on about our day now. Welcome back. So, Jen, don't focus too much on the fact that YouTube just crashed, right, for me yet again. Let's focus on the fact that I can start a new stream and get back all of the Playdate members who really want to do this with us. Hi, Maddie West. Yes, thank you for coming back. I'm so sorry. I can't control it. I don't know what's up. I think, honestly, on Sundays it's just getting ready, or we're starting to have issues with just like the internet, like glitching, because my Wi-Fi stays up. That's not a problem. So it really just seems to be freaking Comcast. Okay. So we had just started to answer Emily's question, so I'll ask it again. Again, thank you to all of you who have got 3 cups of viewers have spilled, but you still have 2 cups left. I will take every single one of these cups, every single one of you. Thank you for being my upright cups. Emily, how can we best, or asked, and I hope she found us, how can we best work with ancestors and dearly departed to deepen our connections this autumn/fall in the lead up to Samhain? So Ginger had an answer here. Okay, see, Zane knows what I'm talking about. It's not just me. Ginger says, as we grieve the loss of loved ones, we must remember to focus on the life force that they have left behind. I love that. Saskia says, grieve the loss, but also remember and celebrate the good memories. Oak Mama says we're midway to the 10, so perhaps the 5 indicates a need to reevaluate life and reevaluate priorities. Emily says it's really interesting as the dearly departed one who inspired this question has appeared in my dreams. A few months ago in a dream, we were seated in a rowboat together, sinking, but we were jovial. So you're like, okay, we're sinking, but we're going to make the best of it? Is that kind of what you mean? Wendy says it's okay to grieve and shed tears, but also focus on the memories left behind. Justin said, I have RCN and it's the same. They use Comcast lines. Oh, see? Donna, by thinking about the trials and tribulations our ancestors had to overcome so we know we can deal with our own challenges. Oh no, there's one person left in the old stream. I don't think it's me. I'm sorry. Thanks for getting the word out, Elle. I really appreciate it. Susie, and those 2 cups can be our guides. Oh, Elle. Oh, wait, that's probably Elle. That probably, bless. That is hilarious. So how we can work with our ancestors and deepen our connections this autumn fall, and maybe it is. It's giving ourselves the permission to grieve the loss of our loved ones, but making sure that that's not holding us back in a way that's allowing us to live our lives. Because I strongly believe, I know if I were to leave this world, I would want my loved ones. Yes, it would be nice if they missed me a little, right? But I want them to move on and I want them to be fulfilled in their lives, right? That to me would be what I would want to leave behind. So I imagine that many other ancestors would feel the same way. Not that I'm an ancestor yet, but you get what I mean, I hope. Let's see here. Oh gosh. I think I read that one. We're laughing at Elle. Patrice says, Jen, you have really displayed the healthy interpretation of this card, taking your loss and turning it into a gift for someone else. Thank you, Patrice. I mean, and that's really the only thing I can think of to do. We know I like to keep things balanced, and I really just needed that to feel more balanced. It just felt like everything was not just, right? Stephen, the moment is about the loss and not about what still remains. We from outside the card can see what remains, but the figure in the card is in the moment of loss, right? Their back is turned. So what we can so clearly see, maybe they're not seeing. And maybe we need to help others through those moments, right? Be there to support each other. Drop of Golden Tarot, regrets of things that were left unsaid, unresolved fights. But when working with ancestors, realize that they have the knowledge of those regrets. They have heard the lament of our pain and sorrows, right? Oh, I love that. Okay, is it Simon? Yeah, Simon didn't come back. Bye, Simon. Okay, shall we pull another card? I think that was good. Hopefully, Emily, you felt like your question was answered well. All right, I have to dig through another one because I'm using this one this week. And I now have the Rainbow Heart Tarot, which really came into my collection accidentally. I told that story in my video where I talked about my accidental deck haul, is I think what I called it, right? Five of Swords. The other ones I'm sure are probably in order, so hopefully this will be the last time that you have to watch me wade through these decks. Now this one actually really harkens. This is very, very similar to the Rider-Waite-Smith. So I'm just trying to keep myself organized here. So here is in the playful. No, not the playful heart. Rainbow Heart. Very different deck. Okay, so here is our Rainbow Heart. So very, very similar. Now, one tiny thing that I kind of noticed, right, is although the cups here that are spilled over have the same color liquid, this evokes a lot of the same sadness to me, right? The coloring is very reminiscent of this particular original, Pixie's original artwork and coloring. Let's see what you guys have been saying here. Essence 818, lyrics to a song Memories don't live like people do. They always stay with you. Whether things are good or bad, it's just the memories that you have. Never forget. Ooh, that's pretty. Yes, technical problems can be frustrating, just especially when they happen every single week. But I'm learning to try and tee things up. But I think what happened today is when I set up my second live stream, I accidentally had it as private, which is why it took me a little longer than last time to sort of regroup. Elizabeth says, no water or river. Oh, I think this right here is kind of a darker blue, but I think that's water there behind her. No bridge. Ooh, I missed that. Good observation. So is it going to be a bit more difficult? Oh, TK is making his presence known. Is it going to be a bit more difficult for us to move on without that bridge? Hi, TK. Shh. Donna says the building looks higher up and harder to get to, especially without the bridge, right? Emily says, oh, this card is beautiful. Do feel this in a very raw, visceral way. It may be her face or the prominence of the red liquid from the cups, right? You definitely feel that sadness in this, I think. It looks windy in that card. Did the wind blow the cups over? You know, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes things just happen that are completely beyond our control. Maybe she didn't touch the cups. Maybe she had them lined up perfectly well. Are you wanting to come say? Yes, he wants to come say hi. This is TK. Say hi. Okay. He'll stay up here for like 20 seconds and then jump back down. Maddie West says, it looks sadder because she's on her knees, right? So she's not even strong. And I guess that's kind of similar to the Everyday Witch too, right? It just feels sadder when they're not even standing. You feel like there's more grief there. Essence 818 says, this card really evokes helplessness, but his breath really stinks. He's real cute, but his breath, he's an old kitty. Justin said, wind is air. No, please don't go up there. So that's interesting. They made element of air visible. Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. Susie, the colors in the two cups are black, like spoiled. Sad card. Ooh, are they? I guess they almost look like they could have a bluish tint, but I think that's my optimism showing. So, yeah, I think you're right about that. Is that an arch or a bridge in the background? Like where? Like here, maybe? feel like that's part of the structure. This is the Rainbow Heart Tarot by, I don't have the box with me because this is one that I had out. It's by Rachel, and if anybody knows and wants to put her last name in here, that would be great. Yeah, that bit. Yeah, I feel like that's attached to the structure, right? But we don't have a way to get over the river the way that we do in this particular card. So very interesting. All right, so let's get to answering this question. So from Saskia, who I don't know if Saskia made it over to our new stream here. What should we focus on for the start of October? And it's interesting the way that question is phrased. What should we focus on for the start of October? So do we think we maybe need to take a moment to acknowledge the things that have made us sad or upset, but only for the start of October, right? And then maybe we need to move on and turn around and refocus our attention on those 2 cups. What do you think? Oak Mama said, I never thought that deck would have such a sad card. This is a really balanced deck, I think, from what I can tell so far. I just started working with it. Justin, I mean, if the wind is blowing, it means the thoughts are raging. Oh, yes, she could be very much in her head. Even though this isn't a swords card, we might see that our element. I get where you're going with that. Drop of Golden Tarot. See, those 2 cups is empty. They are ready to receive, but she has nothing to fill them with yet. Oh, that's another interesting perspective on this. Bjorg says she doesn't even look at the cup. She's looking at the castle as if it was important for her to bring those cups there. So was she trying to get them over there? Interesting. That's kind of like what somebody said earlier too. I think it was, I don't remember who it was, maybe Robin. Here she looked like she was looking out past the cups, right? Emily says, yes, I think it's allowing ourselves the space and time to grieve. Leanne says, in October, it is goodbye to bad blood. So take a moment, say your goodbyes, grieve your losses, and then move forward. This is actually interesting because my card for the month of September was the 4 of Cups. And now we're kind of starting October. First play date is the 5 of Cups. And then for the rest of the month, I have the 3 of Wands. So for me, if I kind of look at this as a bridge between the months for me, I can see this as like, okay, some stuff has happened, right? But now is your opportunity to take action and start making things happen for yourself, right? Now, that's a whole kind of personal thing, but it's a way I can relate to this card. Emily says those 2 other cups look very stable, though, and in the foreground, right? So they're closer to us. Stephen, we will have November to remember the living. October is about the dying of the year. Right? And that does come into play with whole, the honoring the dead, Samhain, fall moving into the winter, getting closer to moving into the winter, for those in the northern hemisphere here. Lots of good thoughts on that. It does seem like a good autumn card, doesn't it? We all have, it's kind of like too, if you work with the moon cycles, right? We have to have those moments of manifestation, but also those moments of release. All right, so my next deck that I have today, this I feel like we haven't looked at in ages because my collection keeps growing, which makes it longer until we recycle. But I have the 8 Coins Tattoo Tarot here. Now, hopefully this will be well behaved and in order, and it looks like it is, so that's good. That makes this go a little bit quicker. Ooh, okay. This deck always kind of provokes in me some feelings. Okay, sorry, we're organizing again. So here, I totally forgot you had that deck. Yeah, I won this in a raffle at the Northwest Tarot Symposium in 2019. Look at that. Like, look at her tears in her face. And now here we don't have a ruin in the background. We have a castle. At least that's what it looks like to me. 3 spilled cups. Ooh, but we have budding flowers. Now, not fully in bloom, which to me is an interesting perspective on this. Yeah, the red really stands out. I remember we got this card way back at the beginning of this deck, way back at the beginning of Playdate, and we had the 3 of Swords. And this was very, very emotion-invoking deck there as well. Who's that on the road? Is there somebody on the road? Oh. Is there a figure? Oh, does it look like? And you can't tell if that person is coming or going. Did she get left behind? Interesting. Susie says, I see her beauty as if it is about to surface. Jonathan has Darth Vader waffles. That's what happens when you have children. Drop of Golden Tarot says, I love the budding flowers. The roses, says Emily. Love the colors. Right? So anything, I don't know why I say right. Right is my filler word. But does this feel, I mean, here we see literal tears, but I don't know that it necessarily makes me feel more sad than the other ones. Although I love the kind of the hope that is in these. With these budding flowers, I think that adds a new element that we haven't seen yet in the other cards that we've looked at. What do y'all think? And do you want to dive into any of this, or should we just get to our next question? Let me know your thoughts. Sandra says, I love that too. Oh, Jen in this card. Okay. I was like, men, I know that's not what you mean. You mean the budding flowers, added element. Red Bean B says that I think the person is leaving. It certainly looks like she's grieving the loss of that person. Okay, my stream just hiccuped. Okay, folks, good vibes, good juju. T-Cat says, oh, those problems with, too much tarot decks. Drop of Golden Tarot. Her face is looking up like she's shedding the tears, but on her way out of the grief. Emily, yes, the budding flowers coming out of the upright cups is very symbolic. No problem, Sandra. You clarified. We got it. L, the roses, are they budding or they look like they've been squeezed? Is the red water being squeezed from them? But she's putting them in the cup water to regenerate. Well, that is some interest. I would not have gone there in my interpretation. I guess you're right in the, okay, focus. Come on. You know you want to. Sometimes this camera, I might have to, this is actually a pretty decent camera, but I might have to splurge. Yeah, this one here, even though we can't get the focus really, this one here looks extra squeezed, doesn't it? Oak Mama says it looks like the aftermath of a quarrel. All right, so maybe those cops got through. Maybe she threw them at as he was leaving, or they, or she, you know, we don't really know. But as that person was leaving, she's throwing the cups at the ground, perhaps. Jonathan, budding flowers that are glowing, inner hope and good emotions, just waiting for her attention. Emily, I wonder why the castle rooftops are red. L has not, is, doesn't want, I don't know what you're saying, L. And the candle is red, love and passion working. Oh, yes, right? This does feel definitely all up in the feels, and it evokes interpretation that would lend toward a romantic loss of some kind. Emily, it feels very emotional. Bye, Wendy. Thanks for hanging around so long. Did anyone else notice that there are 5 flowers? So we have 5 flowers in the 3 cups. Good spot, Jonathan. Donna, interesting that she is indoors rather than outside exposed to the elements like in the traditional card. True. It does add a different element, doesn't it? All right, so, and now she regrets, Oklahoma said. Yes, probably. So this question was from Sandra at the Whispering Well. How can we be supportive of our friends this week? Oh, how can we be supportive of our friends this week? How does this card help you answer that? Justin says, that's the vibe I got from the witch deck. It's relationship loss. It could be, but not exclusively. Donna says, send flowers. I love that interpretation so much right now. Because what I was thinking is, it's, you know, the first thing that kind of came to mind when I read that question and looked at this card is I just want to give her a hug. But we can't always do that, especially because, you know, pandemic. But it's more of a literal way of interpreting this card and seeing something like that. That is gorgeous. I love that. If you piss someone off, apologize, says Val, right? So, and then also, you know, again, I go to my base instincts where I want to say, you know, help remind them that these cups and these flowers are back here, right? Make sure that but also you don't want to not validate their feelings. You don't want to invalidate that. You don't want to gloss over them, because that can be really frustrating for people who are feeling emotions and they feel like they're not understood. So maybe empathizing with the fact that you see these 3 cups and you understand why they are feeling the way that they are feeling, and then maybe gently nudge them to the two, right? Okay, Kay says, like the flower buds, your friends need tending to as well. Unattended buds will drop and ignored friends might fall away. Oh, that's another great interpretation of this. Stephen said, sit with them and listen to their experience. Exactly, that's kind of what I was getting out of it. Emily, be mindful of big reactions to conversations, situations, and explosive relationship/conversations. Consider words before speaking up. Always a good idea. Saskia, let them voice their grief and then help them move on when they are ready. Yes. Jonathan, reach out to our loved ones and check in on them in their emotional state. Remind them that they still have the cups that are upright and it's okay for them to grieve their spilled cups. Exactly, exactly. Hello, Celtic Tarot, Sheila. I'm glad you found us. We're having YouTube troubles today. And last week, and the week before that. Chris, Elemental Cartomancy says, 4 flowers in 1 cup, 1 in the other. Help our friends by getting the balance of giving them their space when they need it, but also being there for them when they need us. Emily, instead of interpreting a friend's pain, be a silent space holder and allow them to work through their problem, confident in the knowledge that they can find the solution themselves. Hold space. Yes, it is the YouTube gremlins. Maddie West says, help them clean up after the disaster. That's another great interpretation of this card. Like, just be there to help them clean up the spill, because a lot of times that can be the cleaning up part, whether it's literal or figurative, can be, it just can amplify the pain and the disappointment and the sadness or whatever feelings. And knowing that somebody's there to kind of help you pick up the pieces just takes some of that weight off. I love that. Emily, listen and hear them. Patrice, when we show up for our friends, we are presenting them with upright cups by being there. So maybe we are those upright cups. Oh, such good answers. You guys are good. Okay, I have 2 more decks. And I don't trust the YouTube, so I'm moving a little quickly here today. Let's do the Shadowland Tarot, which is perfect for October, isn't it? And this guidebook is very good as well. I haven't pulled out any of the guidebooks, but I haven't felt like I've needed to. I feel like all of you are bringing fantastic interpretations of these cards. And what once was organized is now no longer organized back there. Okay. Let's get our cups. Oh, I love the sound cards make sometimes when you shuffle through them. All right. This is so cute. Okay, that, Jim. Okay, sorry about the back of my head. Okay, let's get that there. All right, here is our Shadowlands Tarot 5 of Cups. And in the meantime, let's get our little monster guy in focus here. Come on. There we go. He looks surprised at whatever has happened. Oh, now there we have a big bridge. We have our spilled, they look like soda cans or paint cans. And then these 2 right up here sitting next to the river. I feel like those are in a very precarious position. All right, I'm going to read your other thoughts here as you guys tell me what you think about this card. T-Cat had answered the last question saying, by supporting your friends to see the better side of things that have gone wrong, even if their pride may be bruised and they feel reluctant to hear you right now, they might remember your words later. Some of that stuff still gets through, even if it feels like people aren't listening. It reminds me of what Kelly at the Truth and Story said in her latest video about checking in and speaking about the loss and grief, said Emily. Yeah, I need to watch that video. Cleaning up can be therapeutic. Very true, Mama. Tyken says, have they fixed the warping and flaking with this deck? I don't know that they've released a new version of this. I haven't had any trouble with it, but I haven't done a ton of shuffling or working with it just yet. Looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon, said Jonathan. So here we have this really big bridge, but we don't necessarily have land on the other side. But I would anticipate, I feel like the land is on one side and maybe the castle on the other. TK, we all know you're here now. Don't worry. Simon, you are here. Hello. York says, last question. Oh, on the last question answering it, tell your friends it's okay to let go and feel those emotions from the 3 cups before they can turn around and see the 2 cups of flowers. Yes. Susie says, this reminds me of Yucca-Man. Yucca-Man? Yucca-Man. No one will get this. He was left, but raised by nature and animals, so he manages fine. Another family. Oh, interesting. Oh, the shape of water. Oh, I totally see what you're talking about with that. He looks surprised because he got drinking soda. He's like, oh, drops them all. But he's still got 2 left. So whenever whoever caught him leaves, he can go around and get those other cans of soda, right? Chris says, looks like a water monster. He's come up to shore and found sadness and loss, but he's currently missing the 2 cups that are still upright beside the water. Reminds me of the Little Mermaid story from Beneath the Moon. So referring to the storybook that everybody's been using as a companion to the Tarot of the Divine. The 2 upright cups look like jam jars. They certainly look like something different than what we normally see. We don't have goblets. They have like pop tops on them. Let's see. I wonder if they say in the book what kind of, oh, the books. I'm flipping through the book and it's just got that new book smell still. Clearly I need to use this deck more. I want to see if it says what they are. There's a lot. This lagoon creature stands on the banks of an urban waterway, saddened by what he sees. The upright tins on the beach represent past successes, and the tipped cans, failures. But now this is looking at as if everything is in the past. That's kind of an interesting way to look at this card. Hadn't thought about it like that. Like both the upright and the spilled being in the past. Does that change how we look at this card? T-Cat says, well, it looks like Mr. Loch Ness Monster is not so happy with the fallen soda. No, he looks a little annoyed at the very least, right? So our 4th question, this was from Neem, Essence 818. Is he sad because people have been littering? I almost thought that for a minute. It's like, oh, he's seeing the litter and I don't know, maybe he can pick up and rehome those other 2 cans or something. Okay, so Neem, Essence 818's question, how do we maintain a positive outlook in the most negative of times? Well, do you feel like the tarot could answer that any more literally? Like, just do that. Maintain a positive outlook. How would you answer this question with this card? How do we maintain a positive outlook in the most negative times? And I feel this is, and I'm just going to throw out my thoughts while I wait for you guys to put your comments in the chat here. But to me, it's kind of like what we talked about before. It's okay, recognize that things have happened and maybe haven't all worked out the way that we want. Allow ourselves to feel what we need to feel, but be prepared. And even if we have to force ourselves somewhat to turn around and see the good, find those moments of gratitude. I think people who build a gratitude practice, whether it's through journaling or just having those thoughts throughout the day or sharing that with somebody else, I think those people who can do that, and I try to remember to do this, have an easier time moving past those moments of grief and sadness. Sometimes it's an effort though, and I don't want to discount that. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Cleaning can be therapeutic. Oak Mama reiterates, yes, yes. Susie, embrace differences, no lookism. Love who you love. Oh, that's interesting. I like that. Drop of Golden Tarot. The cups have spilled, but they are still there. You have the capacity to fill them back up. Yeah, in some of these cards, the cups are not even broken. They've just tipped over. Just pick them up. Pick them up and move forward. You know, clean up the mess. Therapeutic. Exactly. Jonathan, it's okay to have both positive and negative outlooks at the same time. Life isn't totally one way or the other, and by embracing both the good and the bad, you have fuller spectrum of color for life and appreciation. And it kind of goes back to that whole, I know this is kind of a Buddhist concept, but I know that many people have said this. We can't know joy without pain. If we don't understand what it means to not feel joy, how would we know what joy is? You know, life is meant to be those ups and downs, and we can't hold too tightly to the good times because, you know, as we've discovered with the Wheel of Fortune, you know, things just keep turning, things keep changing. The question again, please, T-Cat, was how do we maintain a positive outlook in the most negative of times? Celtic Tarot Sheila says, the first thing I thought was fear and sadness. Sometimes we have to do it even if we're afraid or sad. I kind of added a word there, but Chris at Elemental Cartomancy says, start off by seeing the positives. Just know they're there. Don't always want to jump into being a happy camper when we are feeling the loss, and that's okay. But first step is to know that the good is there, right? We don't have to delve into the realm of toxic positivity is, I know, a key phrase that a lot of people like to focus on. We don't want to be irrational about it. We don't want to be blind. We don't want to necessarily stick our head in the sand, but being able to willingly and willfully focus on those things. Emily said, yes, Jonathan, and it's okay to leave the cups on the ground and to come back to them. We don't have to clean them up if we're not ready yet. I mean, as long as you're not staining your carpet, right? What's the harm? Or the wood floors. That can be messy. Oak Mama, do you get money back when you return those cans? We do in some parts of Europe. So those spilled cans are also opportunity, right? Pick them up. Go collect your recycling funds. There you go. Jonathan says, this too shall pass. Embrace the good and learn from the bad. Emily, it sort of makes me think of an E.T. or an Edward Scissorhands kind of vibe. That's like unlikely friendships. Ooh, I like that too. All right, we have one more. I love this deck so much. The Everyday, right set up, The Everyday Enchantment by Poppy Palin. Mine is still an untrimmed copy, although one day I will rectify this. Okay. The only thing I just still don't love is the 2-part box, but that's all right. I can deal. Okay, so we are going to, oh, this is such a sad card. And the puppy. There it is, folks. Drops his scared Eddie. Sorry, Eddie. Here is our 5 of Cups from the Everyday Enchantment. Oh, look at this. Would have been a good one for the ancestor card, wouldn't it? Or question. Aw. Elle says, I wouldn't mind the loss of 2-part boxes. Mine just, you know, one of my cups just spilled. One of my deck boxes just spilled over. I know, this is a sad card. Cream carpets attract red wine. True. True. Essence earlier with the other question. Loved all the answers. I don't have to run to the bridge, but in the moment, acknowledge that the bridge is there when ready to start moving and pick up those cans and get my refunds. Sounds like you got all the takeaways from that. Good job. Jonathan, this one does have 2 spilled, 3 upright. You're right. Another good observation. And we have flowers in here, right? Now, the flowers are certainly marking what appears to be a tombstone of somebody who has passed. So there's the grief, but the upright pots here with the flowers in them, they're actually part of that grieving process, aren't they? So that is definitely a different way of looking at this particular card. Even the dog looks depressed. You know, but, or is he just there, or she, lending comfort, right? It's like, I'm here, I'm next to you. You know how it is when animals sense that our mood has changed, or especially when we're sad. I feel like animals just know, right? And they come and they snuggle up right next to us, and they just want to lend that comfort. Let's see, you guys have all said, oh, this one also has the support of a loyal friend and the dog. Ginger Faye said, as we pick up the spilt cups, reflect upon the situation. Is there a message there for us to move forward with? Yeah, is there an ancestor in the background? I feel like there is in this one. Now, this deck always has like little sprites and spirits throughout it. And this one here, I feel like is saying like, hey, I'm okay. It's all right. You know, there's a lot going on. I love this deck so much. This one, oh, I read that one. Emily said, I would actually clean up a real mess as yes, neutral, oh, carpets. Yes. Oak Mama says, it doesn't feel like a depressing card. This to me feels like a healthy grieving is the best way I can describe my initial impression of this card. Yes, this card would have been great for questions. This card would have been great for all the questions, I feel like. Jonathan says, has the person been there so long that a vine grew on them? Ooh, see? Justin's paying attention. Or did I say Justin? Jonathan, sorry. Having a moment as I'm reading and talking at the same time. But yeah, so maybe she's been there just a bit too long, although the flowers are fresh. So is somebody coming and putting flowers there for her as well? That would be interesting. Interesting. Sandra says, maybe the ancestor in the background, maybe he is saying, don't be sad, I am good now. This is the Everyday Enchantment Tarot by Poppy Palin. Donna says, I just watched Poppy's video on this card. She chose a human spirit for this one. See, yeah, it does feel very purposeful, doesn't it? Emily says, yes, healthy grieving is exactly what I mean. We shouldn't feel pressure to grieve or react or behave as people expect us to. We can allow ourselves to move through the experience as we need to. All right, I don't want to rush you, but we've been going a little extra long because, again, technical glitches taking up extra time. I'm going to get to our question here. Steven says, how odd that you picked that deck because I literally just purchased it and Lightseer's not. Okay, am I back yet? I think I'm back. Rude. Twice. Not awesome. All right, we best wrap this up, folks. We best wrap this up quickly. I am getting a message from the interwebs that says, Jen, you are done. You are cut off. I need a new computer. Actually, I have a plan, folks. This is my birthday month, and I am planning when the new iPhone comes out, I think I'm going to try and make the switch and see if I can go live on a phone, because then I can do it on cellular, and then we just don't even have to deal with this nonsense. But my current phone, you wouldn't be able to see the cards so well. Okay, all right. So let's answer our last question for anybody who is still here. Once again, from Oak Mama. How can we stay healthy? So how can we, that's the 2 spilled cups, right? How can we stay healthy? So how can this card help us answer, oh, thank you, help us answer Oak Mama's question? What do you think? How can we stay healthy? Maybe don't sit in grief so long that vines grow on us. Maybe we need to find a little bit better balance with the grief and the moving on, right? And the sadness, and equalizing that a bit. Thank you, Jackie. Chris says, looking at the tombstone on this card, the surname is Holmes, and this appears to be a family plot, not just one person's. So we've maybe lost multiple people. This really would have been a great card for the ancestor question. Emily says, honor our emotions and needs, but also take care of our physical needs. Eat, drink, water, sleep, basic self-care. Exactly, because in this particular version of the card, it feels like perhaps some of that is being neglected. So yes, allow yourself to feel your feelings, but still get up and shower. You know, when we crawl into bed and we don't shower for days, we start to not feel so awesome. I can't believe 50 of you came back. You guys, you are my upright cups. I am so thankful that y'all have stuck with me. This is why this is awesome. All right. Jonathan says, it's okay to grieve and lament things that have passed, but don't get stuck there. And don't forget your self-care practices. Exactly. You and Emily, you're on the same page here. Val says, we can recognize that we are mortal and we can nourish the 3 cups of what we have and not worry about the 2, like age, etc., that we've lost, right? You can't go back. Sherry, who is the guy in the background? It is a spirit of some kind, which is all throughout. Poppy has put little spirits in each of the different cards. So I choose to interpret that as perhaps one of her ancestors or perhaps one of these dearly departed loved ones back there trying to say, hey, it's okay, you can get up. I'm all right. Emily says, I'll be an upright cup. Yes, you are an upright cup, Emily. I love you too, Jackie. I love you too, Zane. You guys are awesome. You really are. All right, before we go, even though we're running a little bit long, oh, hearts all, I can't make the heart. There, is that a heart? Let's talk really quickly about when the 5 of Cups is reversed. Or if you don't read reversals, when you see this in a spread in a blocking position, in a challenged position, and then don't forget we have an activity. So anybody who's new, who's actually still stuck with it, I will leave you with an activity for the week. Okay, Emily says, who was it that said the bravest thing we can do in the midst of depression is to get out of bed and get dressed? Sometimes that really is the most difficult, but it can also make the biggest difference. So does this exacerbate? Does this mean it's even that much more difficult for us to focus on the upright cups when this is reversed? Are we really allowing ourselves to put it literally, drown in the grief, in the sadness, in the frustration? That's kind of the instant thing that I see when this card ends up in a reversed position. What do you all think? I think we might have, my chat might be a little delayed here. Oklahoma said, moving on, acceptance, forgiveness. Ginger Faye had said a positive outlook would be when saddened call upon the ancestors and the puppy too. Yes. Does nobody have any reversed thoughts? Okay. There we go. Jonathan, reversed, Five of Cups becomes more depressing than before. Exactly. It may represent something that comes out of the blue and pulls the rug out from under you. It may start to ripple out from under you. And he left us with another one of his cliffhangers. Stephen said it could be a blocking of grief. So maybe you're not allowing yourself to feel those emotions at all, or you're repressing, which we all know that ends up not being a good thing. Emily, the cloak feels so elongated in this position. It does feel like the grief is even more painful. Zane Tarot Token Witchery says, reversed, it makes me think of rushing forward into something without learning from past mistakes or grievances. Oh, moving on, acceptance, forgiveness. So Oklahoma, you were looking at this in a more positive light, like really reversing this and allowing the positive aspects to come out. I gotcha now. Susie says, I'm now being the biggest nerd. Darth Vader becomes Anakin. Ooh, interesting. Maddie West, for me, reversed goes from grieving to wallowing. Yeah, that was kind of the first thing that sort of came to mind for me as well. Jonathan, okay, so our ... start affecting people around you. Lies, distrust, and betrayals are also other qualities of a reversed Five of Cups. Well, that seems appropriate, doesn't it? Doesn't it? For those who know my story. Emily says, it looks like the cloak is dragging and pulling us down. Chris says, reverse, either being stuck in sadness and not properly dealing with those negative feels, or burying the negative and having that toxic positivity that you mentioned earlier, Jen. Yes. Lift that darkness, said Susie. Wallowing in the negative, says Jackie. L, at least it's just the water that'll fall out in the two upright cups. With the cups that have already fallen, both the vessels and water are already lost. Interesting, yes. Ginger Faye, since dude is upside down, use another perspective to heal and move forward. So thinking about it almost like a hanged man opportunity, perhaps. All right, I'm going to give you guys an activity to leave for the week. And if you decide you want to share the results of your activity, I keep having the best of intentions. I am the worst. I am not leading by example on this front because I have not been doing my own activities. I may actually, I was talking to Elle because she's my other admin in the group. And I've been saying, I really need to go through it and do some of the activities that I haven't done and share my results. So don't hesitate to do older activities, which I will post in the description box below, both part 1 and 2 of Tarot Playdate this week, as well as in the Facebook group. All right, Five of Cups. This week's activity is called Finding the Positives in the Negatives. Oh, this one was from Elle. She came up with this one. Look through your tarot deck and pick a card that's your least favorite. Why don't you like it? Is it the artwork? Is it the vibe it gives off? This week, I want you to study this card with the intention of finding qualities of that card that you like. Will you have changed your mind by this time next week? Will you learn to like or even possibly love this card and the message it brings? Ooh, I love that. It's like flipping that perspective around a bit, looking at the Two of Cups, or the two upright cups versus the three that are spilled over. Once again, you guys have been fantastic hanging with me through multiple live stream glitches, buffering, multiple streams. You know, I guess this allows people to choose whether or not they want to hang out for the entire play date or just watch pieces, but you guys have been awesome. This was such an appropriate card for, I think, today and this week, and I am really looking forward to our upright cups next week when I get to see you again. Thank you all for your love and support, for participating and making Playdate what it is. Thank you to my mods, especially Elle, who does so much of my admin work. I really appreciate it. I love you all. Bye, all. Oh, my live stream is blank. How can I even say goodbye? Oh, YouTube. Like, I literally can't end it. There we go.